This video and all content is made possible by our Patreon subscribers. For $3 a month, you can help keep the lights on here at From North to Wharf. Thank you for your ongoing support. And if you would like your own From North to Wharf merchandise, head to fromnorthtowharf.threadless.com.
Does Hestia know you?
Oh yeah, clearly, we're on a wrong name basis.
And now we're here, and there aren't any monkeys being friends with lions!
Okay, no one said for sure there'd be monkeys, honey.
I'm not gonna arrest the moose.
He's a good boy! He's a good boy! Being your muse no longer amuses me. That's pretty good, you can use that. But that's it! I'm done with your show.
From the Great North to Wonder Wharf! Alright!
Hello, everybody.
What's up, JB?
What's up, Adam? So, I'm running tonight solo with my buddy Adam because Mike has decided to become a carny for the week. So, wish him well on his endeavors. Are you wearing a Cincy FC? Yep, they went early too.
Yeah, I just picked it up. We went to the game Saturday and got it while I was there.
Nice. Yeah, the crew in Cincy did not go well.
No. It was a good game, though. Made it to shootouts.
Yeah, the crew didn't do that. That was really disappointing. So we have some pretty good episodes this week to talk about, actually. I enjoyed this week for the most part when it came to animation domination. But in the thing of news, I'm trying to think what we've got news-wise to report. You did finish your collection of these guys.
I did.
How did that go for you?
I ended up having a friend sent me an extra good Coochie Copy that she had. And that same day, I went to Target and bought 2 blind boxes and got Notameki,
Oh, you
which was
got
the last
it.
one I needed.
So you only had to get, how many more do you have to get?
I've got them all now.
But how many boxes in total? I have
Oh, God.
6, plus there's 6 in the set, right?
7?
7 in the set, 6, so 13, so 15 total.
Yeah.
All right. It's not terrible.
I actually have a couple here.
You got more doubles?
2 bad Coochie Copies and a Mizuchi.
Oh, nice.
So I'll be sending these guys your way.
Once I try to get a set myself, then we'll probably start giving some away, actually, to fans and stuff. We'll maybe do some, like, daily trivia or something for it. Maybe some hard trivia for it. But in the other words of news, I haven't seen anything new merch-wise coming out or rumors of anything coming out just yet. So we'll keep you guys posted once we find more things out like that. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's any other big news related stuff. We're going to show off our Thanksgiving merch. That is something we are going to do. But I'll wait till the end to do that. Oh, you framed it.
Finally got it framed today.
Nice. It turned out good.
Yeah, it looks really good. Mel picked out the frame. It looks amazing.
Yeah, mine's back here. Thank you, Tyler Bullard. It is the centerpiece of the collection now. Right next to the signed Teddy interview card, Keisuke and Rudy signed, and then Peter Paul's Christmas card.
Yeah, mine's going to go right there under the poster.
Yeah, then I've got then I have the movie guest pass and the Zenipede VIP pass. So that's the cool side of the wall. The other side is pins and other stuff, and all my friendship bracelets, which I have nowhere to store those except the movie cup that I drew. So they're just full of these friendship bracelets from Comic-Con, which I usually bring a couple each year, but it's getting hard because I keep getting so many new ones.
Yeah.
I do have the ones, I think the ones I do have wrapped around my con badges, which are over there. I think I have my From North to Wharf ones that people make. No Nick, no Mike. Mike has joined the Carnies and is working the Florida State Fair. I don't know what he's doing there, but he's doing something. Maybe making elephant ears or... Also, though, we have to give a big shout out to Mike. It's Veterans Day, to the Marine himself, Mr. High Breeder, Semper Fi soldier.
We should send him a slice of cheesecake.
Yep. Strawberries on top. Like all the good ones like it. Also, he would. Oh, this stinks. He's not here because he could tell the Cheesecake Factory story too, where they denied a veteran cheesecake
And his meal.
and a meal as well. Sad times.
I enjoyed it. It was amusing.
Homer, I agree, and we're going to get to it because it is a good episode. But I'm trying to think of any other news out there that's worth posting about or sharing before we jump into things. Besides the new Thanksgiving designs we're going to show you guys, which we have 4. So hopefully you dig them. They will go live right after the show is over, so you can get them if you want. So you can wear them in time for Thanksgiving and stuff with fam. So I guess the only interesting fact was that I posted earlier that for Veterans Day, Teddy was part of the USS Gertrude Stein, for any of these that were wondering, and he was in the Navy, and his nickname was Double Dip. So there's your trivia for Veterans Day knowledge. I don't think we've ever had anyone else on Bob's Burgers be a veteran besides Teddy, though. So I think that's the only one who's ever been openly called that.
Yeah, the main cast. There was the can't remember the name of the episode, but the Admiral where they try to hook Marilyn up.
Will help Hickox or whatever his name was. Wilcox or Hickox. Where Bob's wearing cheese on his sleeves. That's a good episode though. I like that one. It's a lot of fun. The Secret Admiral. Let's jump into episodes real quick. Let's start with Universal Basic Guys for our first one. This one, we'll see how everyone felt about it. So let me get the episode name and synopsis up for everybody here. We have Mr. Cupcake Man. That's the episode. It's episode 9 of season 1. Let's see what they said about it. Where's that synopsis for this bad boy? It's like they're hiding it. They don't want me to read it. There we go. Mark writes a hit song that becomes the next Baby Shark and enlists his family and neighbors to join in the management team. David tries to capitalize on Mark's wake by resuscitating his old and out of touch. Oh yeah, his magician act. Just isn't great. So, Mr. Cupcake Man. What do you guys think about this? Has anyone been watching Universal Basic Guys as well? Because I'm excited to talk about Crapopolis and Bob's. This one was okay for me. I mean, it was handled in Mark fashion. He did make the new Baby Shark with Mr. Cupcake Man. It was real popular. It went up in views. I know Christine, no Mike tonight. He is also, I think, not thrilled that he's not here, but from what I've heard, he's sleep deprived and not loving it, but he did get those Warped Tour tickets, so I'm sure he's okay with it for now. Oh, you watched this one? I may try the others because it wasn't. No, it's not too bad. This tiptoes the line of being kind of ridiculous and just weird sometimes, and just kind of like, oh, we're doing this, but they never really go too far. Like Family Guy sometimes goes a little too far, where you're just like, oh, that was a little rough, or somehow they always seem to land it somewhat gracefully. I think Universal Basic Guys always teeters on going that way, but they stop themselves. And this one wasn't bad. The ending I felt was a little rushed with Mark leaving and doing that, but it was redeemable. Mark actually went to the children's hospital and did Mr. Cupcake Man for all the kids who were sick. It shows he has a softer side than he actually usually lets on. And Hank always just makes it work because he's just the nice guy. Doesn't know any better.
I love the free murder drones.
Oh, yeah, the free murder drones. Yeah, she did some good with those.
She did.
She turned a good or bad PR thing into a not so bad PR thing. But yeah, it was interesting that literally Mark ended up getting booked by some cartel guy in Bolivia.
The highlight of it for me was him pooping.
Oh, the cupcake?
Pooping out the cupcake.
That was, I wasn't pooping it. I was giving birth to it. I'm working with babies. It is interesting that you do see this happen, and I think they are kind of making a jab. It definitely was at Blippi. Because the beginning they had the guy with the bow tie that looked like Blippi, but a different color scheme. I was like, they're totally poking fun at him.
Oh yeah.
And there is some background to that. I don't know if you heard about any of this at all, but there was an old Blippi and then there's a new Blippi. And something happened with the old Blippi. He got like something went viral and he gave it up. And now there's a new younger Blippi who's like been on Miss Rachel and stuff that my son watches, and it's not the same guy. So I'm curious what that all is, but I don't want to do the deep dive on Reddit and be like, oh, this is like real bad or real tragic. So I'm just not going to do it just yet. But I think there is some truth to that pooping a cupcake on stage kind of thing. Something happened.
Lovely.
Yep. And it seems like fame got the best of him. So maybe that is part of what's going on and they're poking fun at that. But Mr. Cupcake Man, I didn't hate it. It wasn't like Poconos was pretty good. I enjoyed that one a lot. And I enjoyed like Fight or Flight. So I think for me, this one was a little bit more in the middle of the road. But it's not the worst, not the best. I really haven't found like a really bad episode of this show yet. They're all just kind of like either middle of the road or a little bit better than that. So I think the more this show goes, the better it'll get.
Yeah, they'll probably start to find themselves next season.
Oh, Christine, was there anything? Raffi, I don't think did anything bad. I hope Raffi does all the little kid songs. They did everything. It's kind of like the whole thing in Bob's when he meets Torpedoes. Like, don't meet your heroes, Bob. Like,
they'll only let you down.
I will tell you though, I think everybody has some heroes in their life, but when you like, if one of them is Lauren Bouchard, you've done good. He's a good dude. Stand up, super nice. Like
he's genuinely a nice person.
Genuinely gives you the time of day and wants to hear what you have to say. It's like super nice. Oh, good. Thank you, Christine. Because like Raffi does all the music that we listen to currently. I was really scared about that. No, Raffi is my hero. Okay, that's safe. That's good to know.
I see in the comments, JZG Mama. Thank you very much for Coochie Kopi. She was the reason I have the full set now.
Mm-hmm. I'm on my way to try to get the set, so we'll see how this goes.
My goal is to find her a Dodemeki. It's the only one she needs.
Oh. I don't think you gave me one of those, did you?
No, I got one yesterday when I got it at Target.
Okay.
That's the first one I've gotten.
All right. I may need your assistance, too, to help them out with some hot sauce. So I may need a label by chance, if you can do one. Of the old Babatillo ghost pepper sauce.
Yes.
Perfect.
I was thinking, I was like, I have a sticker of that, but I have... I have the regular one. It's not the Sugar Skull one that you did.
Yeah.
But I do have a sticker of one. Or one sticker of it.
I think we used the stickers that you made for it on our own bottles, which we
did
in the fridge. Yeah. And friends are still like, ooh, this is nice. Where'd you get this? I was like, it's handmade.
Not very good.
Not very good. It's basically Frank's Red Hot, but Jay-Z Mama did ask for hot sauce from Ohio, the hottest we could find. So I will find a bottle of some good stuff, and we'll slap a label on.
That makes you want to go to Jungle Gyms.
If you're down there and you find one, I'll reimburse.
We'll be down around Thanksgiving. We usually have to hit it because Zoe loves it. They have
they have some
8 aisles of just hot sauce.
But yeah, if you find a good one, just let me know what it is. And I think that's going to be what we send them, because they've hooked us up with stuff for quite a while now when we've looked for things or needed things. So yeah, no problem helping them out with a cool. Plus, it's I love that design. So
yeah.
My pants. Oh well. Oh, compliments are welcome. Those are good signs. That's a funny line from Mr. Fisher. Again, I did the AMA over the weekend. Mr. Fisher has the best funny lines by far.
Oh yeah.
Best jokes are Mr. Fisher jokes. So, and I didn't get to. And then real quick for you guys, if you guys send in questions and stuff like that, I just wish I had more time to answer those questions. There were so many good ones that I was telling Mike, I think what we're gonna do is I might end up doing some as like small YouTube shorts because the questions were a little more elaborate and they would take more time for me to explain and elaborate. So I think what we'll do is try to do some of those as like short little videos about those kind of questions. And we'll just try to do those like once a month. We'll answer like 3 or 4 of the big ones because there were some good ones. Like what characters would you get rid of and why? Or like, and there were some ones that people posted that I did not even think about. So I didn't know the Moody Foodie was not loved by so many people, but
the episode or the character?
The character.
I mean, that's kind of the point of them.
Yeah, that and Chloe Barbash. Not a lot of love for Chloe Barbash. But again,
No.
The same thing as you were saying, Adam. I don't hate them. They're essential because they essentially are who they're supposed to be. Chloe is Louise's kryptonite. It drives her crazy. And the Moody Foodie drives Bob crazy until he realizes that unless he gives him all this power, he doesn't really have any. So why worry about it? Just keep making burgers.
Yeah, I used to run in that in my group all the time. People
and Jimmy
always
Pesto too. And I was like, you need Jimmy.
Oh, you have to have
important.
Jimmy and Tammy. Like she's one that's hated. That people are like, why is she even on the show? And it's like, if you hate her that much, that just shows how great Ginny is at voicing her because
exactly
she makes you hate her.
And the thing is interesting is that everyone started pulling bullies from different episodes, but like Gene only had the one, and it was Choo Choo, and we haven't seen Choo Choo in quite some time.
Just in the background once or twice, I think.
Once or twice, yeah. So, man, I love the Moody Foodie because I love that episode. Yeah, it's a good episode. It's one of my faves. Tin Cup. They have extras. It's called Mulligans. I love also, I think one of the trivia questions we did one night was how much money did the guy ask for, the FedEx driver, to basically just forget about this? It was like
wasn't it like $350?
Like $348. He's like, wow, okay, very specific. It's just like, I'll take 48 and the DVD. But yeah, this episode was pretty good for Mr. Cupcake Man for Universal Basic Guys, and I'm still curious which episode Todd and the guys saw at Comic-Con that they're like, no, this show's fine. I'm just curious what it is and which one. He said it wasn't in any of the promos, so it's nothing that we've seen. It's something that they haven't shown yet. So I guess I have to wait and see how this goes. But
you guys weren't there for the signing, were you?
No.
The brothers were there. That created the show and voice main characters.
Oh, Hank and Mark, yeah.
Incredibly nice guys.
Yeah,
very self-deprecating. Like they're hilarious in person.
That's what everyone was saying. And like, as much as I wanted to not like this, I'm on the same boat with Mike and a couple other people we've been talking to about the shows. It's not bad.
No,
it's actually like, I think the more we get to know the characters, I think we're going to find more redeemable qualities about them. I think it's more like they're kind of like a lighter It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
And as much as like those, like It's Always Sunny, the characters are awful and horrible people, we still like watching them.
I feel like It's Always Sunny is just a train wreck. Like you have to watch it because it's so ridiculous.
And you know it's going to go crazy and off the rails. That's why, everyone loves it so much. So I can't stop watching it from time to time. And especially when Dennis goes in his, like everyone's got their thing. So I think this show, is still finding its like pacing and how it wants to do things. And I think they're just 1 or 2 good episodes away from it kind of like breaking and being really good. So I just want to give it more time to develop. Because as I think we were talking to Joel, and he even said like sometimes they need like 2 or 3 seasons to hit their stride to kind of open things up. So I want to give this show a chance.
I mean, that's how it is with live action too. Like my 2 favorite shows, The Office and Parks and Rec.
They were rough the first 2 seasons.
Office gets great in season 3. Parks and Rec gets better towards the end of season 2, and like season 3 through 6 are amazing.
Because they eventually were just like, we can't be The Office. At least for Parks and Rec, they're like, we're trying to be The Office, but we can't do that. We need to do our own thing. And it was so much better when they just did their own thing.
Yeah, the first season's kind of painful because it is trying to be The Office and not in a good way.
Yeah.
It just doesn't do it.
Oh, Mike's feeling okay. He's working at the state fair. He's making some extra cash for Warped Tour and other stuff he's got planned. He's a big concert guy. So, yeah, The Simpsons didn't get good till season 2. A lot of people were worried it wasn't going to get renewed. And for most of you guys, Bob's Burgers was on the chopping block for many of her seasons. And there's even the joke, I think it's like season 3 at Comic-Con. Kristen Shaw says like someone got a Louise tattoo, and she made fun of it and was like, it really would suck if the show got canceled and you had this tattoo on you. And he'd be like, yeah, it was like a show that like didn't get picked up, but I liked it. She's like, so please pick us up for those people. It worked out, but she jokes about like it was dicey the first 2 seasons, which is also why the season got a little short.
Yeah.
Season 2 is cut short by half. And Joel kind of told us about that. Sometimes they don't order a second half. They wait to see how the first half goes. And then it must have gone well. And then they were like, oh, yeah, just go ahead and order season 3. So sometimes stuff just happens like that.
I'm glad I waited 15 seasons to get my tattoo.
Yeah, it's pretty solid now to get one. I still need to get one. I'm torn between getting like one that I've drawn and have like someone put it on, or having like John Howell do it, because he does tattoos and he's out west, and sometimes if he's around LA or something and we happen to be there, I'd have him do it because he drew the characters for the pilot. And I could definitely have him draw me with like Bob. That'd be fun, especially in that style. So we'll have to see how it goes. But or I could have like one of Aaron's drawings or Simon's. Like it's gonna be tough.
A little piece of me wants to get the burger that Lauren drew on Kuchikopi for Zoe, like on my wrist.
That'd be fun too. Like there's so many things, but then I want to do like Ghibli stuff. Like I have my like Zelda stuff, but I want like Ghibli, and I want more of my art stuff over on my arm. So
You got 2 arms.
Figure it out. I got 2 arms. I know that. But I just don't know what I want on this one. This is supposed to be the creative one, the big colorful one, and this is like the black and white one for analytic stuff. Oh, he said it isn't a girl. Who gets to decide that?
Yeah, it's your body.
Mm-hmm. You do your tattoos the way you want to do a tattoo. They get to pick what they want. You get to do what you want. So the next episode for Universal Basic Guys will be on the 24th. So we're taking a week off. Was that 2 weeks off? 2 weeks off.
Yep.
So Mark throws his hat in the ring as an ad man for being shown up by the group of execs at his favorite bar. It's the Mark Men. So it's going to be I'm guessing a Mad Men episode. So it should be somewhat interesting. And whoever, again, is writing these synopses for Animation Domination, I do believe is European, because they wrote Favorite with the Favorite.
Favorite.
So interesting. You know, we could write them for you. Just send us the episodes ahead of time. We can write it for you. We'll give you a good rate. Let's go ahead. If has anyone got anything else they want to add for Universal Basic Guys before we jump in? All right, let's do Crapopolis. So this show, I've always liked it. So I'm curious to get more people on board with this show, because I do think it's good, and I do think it needs to get a good following going. Because especially with like that last episode that they did was so good. The Crap Apocalypse was a great episode. For some reason, it's not listed, which is interesting, but it's a solid episode.
There's a bunch of episodes leaving Hulu, FYI, from season 1.
Why?
I don't know. When I put it on today, there was a bunch of them listed as leaving soon.
I wonder if this is the move to Disney Plus.
Could be.
A lot of shows I've been noticing are jumping over there, and they're like on both, but then they're slowly, I think they're slowly going to close down Hulu. and just kind of make it one streaming service. I think that's their goal. So they're slowly, I think, reintegrating it and then getting rid of shows as they go. Like not canceling or getting rid of, but like moving them to one platform and then be like, that's where they're at now.
They better make it cheap because I know a lot of people that won't get it.
Yeah. Yeah. It is pricey, especially. I think that's a business question. That's never a fun discussion to have because then it's like if we consolidate services, then we're probably laying people off, and that's not always fun.
Yeah.
So I hope that's not what's going on.
Sorry, my phone's ringing.
No, you're all right. But yeah, Crapopolis, we've got episode 6, National Lampoon's The Odyssey. This is the family takes a vacation to how do you say it? Storgos for Schlub's mother's birthday. She's 10,000 years old. So this episode, what did you think about it? I'm interested to hear what you thought about first, Adam. Then I'll jump in.
I thought it was pretty good. I will have to admit I've not seen every single episode.
That's okay.
But I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good.
I think this season they've definitely picked up on building up characters, learning when to like cut off certain characters, like when they become too much, and being able to tame that because the writing has been way more tight. Not that it wasn't good the first season, but I think it's just gotten a little more tight. The jokes are definitely hitting a lot more.
Yeah.
And characters are definitely playing off of each other in a much more dynamic way, which I think
definitely had a good flow.
No, this episode had really good flow. And it did explain quite a bit. I think we're also seeing, like, as much as we've given Bob's in the Great North a ton of credit for being the family that always, like, sticks together no matter what, and even through their differences, this show tightropes that line where they're doing that, especially in season 2. It's been very much like they're helping each other out for the greater good of the family and for, like, Crapopolis as a whole as a city and, like, for civilization to advance. They still get a little Family Guy-esque in, like, American Dad, where they kind of go back and forth at each other and make jabs, and they're pretty tough jabs from time to time. But they still always come together to help each other out, even at the expense of each other. And I think they're starting to see that that works well with viewers. And they're like, can we just marry both worlds a little bit? Can we have the, like, vulgar humor and kind of, like, over the top stuff and have a family that cares about each other? Because I feel like this episode really showcased that, as well as the last one too. Because this one was all
they're
over
definitely finding their place.
Yeah, this was all over the place, and it felt like a National Lampoon's Vacation a lot. Just like all the horrible things that kept happening, all the things that went wrong, and it still kind of worked out in their own way when they decided to just ruin the birthday party and do what their family does best, which is, like, just mess shit up, and they did it. And I enjoyed that because Schlub's family sucks. Like, they were so mean to him and just rude, and they're, like, trying to get him out of the picture, and, like, he's just drinking. He's like, now do you see why the drinking's always at play? It's like, oh.
His mom did remind me a lot of the ants from National Lampoon.
A lot. And it was interesting that, like, as much as I kept watching this and, like, thinking back on other episodes, whenever he does bring up, like, past stuff with family and things like that, he never really gets into details, but he is always drinking a lot. And it seems like that's Schlub's coping mechanism for this kind of stuff. And it makes sense now. He's been around for a long time, hundreds or thousands of years, and his mom is horrible and doesn't think much of him. So he's kind of the reject. So he does kind of play off like Clark a little bit more, now that I think about it. Wants to be accepted so badly, but just can't be. So,
he's trying his best.
Yeah, he tries his best. So, and he's trying to do better with his family. So, as much as I don't love Chevy Chase as a human being, as a character, it works. And I think for this one, it definitely, like, Schlub was that guy. He's trying to make it work, trying to have a good vacation with his family, trying to have a good trip, and it just doesn't work out. And his family comes together and makes it work for him and shows that they care. So I'm excited to see what they do with this show moving forward, because I do think they've found a good footing and a good pace now, and I think it's more or less, can we just get people to start watching it more? And I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do at Comic-Con this coming year and what kind of stuff they do if they have their panel and how that all goes. The different mermaid bases. Yeah, I also had a lot of questions about that. It's like,
Are there only 10?
Yeah, there was like 4, and then there was like 6, and then 7, then 8, and then 10 was the last. And just like, you went all the way with that jellyfish, I bet. Well, so what if I did? I thought this was just a vacation thing.
Thought it was just a fling.
Mm-hmm. I also did like that Ty has been really redeemable the last couple episodes. I know Mike in particular finds him to be very obnoxious from time to time, and I love Richard Ayoade, and I think Mike has said he does too. He just thinks that he's more of a balanced, more neutral character, and the other ones are kind of all over the place. So he's supposed to be the moral compass. And I just like that he has been mostly trying to walk that line a little bit better with these last couple episodes, not going overboard with the rambling and rants, but keeping it productive.
Yeah.
I think it's way better suited to his character, is that everybody gets a little bit of lines. And Deliria has also been tamed quite a bit, the mom. She's usually pretty much over the top and kind of way over and overbearing, and they've toned her down quite a bit to be more reasonable.
Yeah, she's listening more, it seems like.
Mm-hmm. She definitely is, and I think it's actually benefiting her more. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out as it keeps going too. If that if something stays, or if they like make a move and change it up. But as a whole, I really liked this episode, and I think it'd be a solid place for the show to kind of keep pivoting in the direction it's been going in for season 2 and keep going that direction, because I think it's leading to good stuff. Any final words before we jump into the next episode and then Bob's Burgers?
Nope.
All right. So the next episode for Crapopolis, again, will be on the 24th. So we're taking 2 weeks off. I'm not exactly sure what's going on Fox, but we're taking 2 weeks off. I don't know if it's football, but it's not playoff time or anything like that. And baseball's done. So I'm not sure what's going on exactly.
Yeah, I don't either. I was gonna say, like, I know there's a Bengals game this weekend, but that's on Peacock.
Yeah, and like
I don't follow sports, so
yeah, and football games are going to like Amazon and Peacock and other stations. So it's like, I don't know what's going on with Fox. Maybe they got a new show or something coming up. I don't know. But for 2 weeks, we're not getting any, it looks like, animation domination for the most part. So Crapopolis is off for 2 weeks, and Universal Basic Guys is off for 2 weeks. So the next episode is going to be episode 7 on the 24th. Thai Man, Woman, Table, Chairs, Food. Interesting title. There's a new thing called a map, and all the cool cities are on it. And Tyrannus and Hippocampus started a restaurant to earn Crapopolis its spot on the map. Stupendous follows the map to face her longtime foe. So this must be about maps and cartography and like the importance of maps and traveling and stuff. So Crapopolis wants to get put on the map, it looks like. So they're going to try the food route, and it looks like Stupendous is going to try to just do what she does and just beat people up.
that's interesting, because in the last episode, when they first took off on the ship, they said to keep it to the coastline because they're not sure if maps are accurate yet or not.
So I think, yeah, they kind of hinted at it. Good writing, guys. Segue. Good job. So that'll be on the 24th. So me and Mike will definitely be talking about that once it comes out. So now we're into the bread and butter, the Bob's Burgers. And this is the Hope and Mike night. There's a lot going on in this episode. So we have a lot to talk about with this. The synopsis is the kids want to host an open mic night at the restaurant, but the hidden costs keep mounting, and Bob worries that the night will ruin them financially. There were so many good parts to this episode, so many callbacks, so many continuation stuff, like just to make sure like things continuity wise were the same. And good one-liners too from Gene. Like as a whole, this episode I felt was really good. So let's jump in and start. This episode, I believe, was written by Lauren Bouchard too.
Yes.
And it was directed. I'm trying to think who directed this one.
I think, was it Brian?
Why am I blanking on who it was? Let's see if IMDb got it real
Was it
quick.
Dyer Brian?
No, he's not directing it. His episode, I don't think, has come out yet. The Steel Stallions has not come out yet. I'm trying to think who directed this one. I don't think it was Simon, but it might have been. He made a point to say something last week, so maybe it was him. But
I don't remember.
Either way, I thought this episode was absolutely fabulous. And that was another thing, too. There was a lot of debate between old Bobs and new Bobs. And what does that mean? And, like, did you like old Bobs versus new Bobs? And that's one of the things that I think we would debate and talk about. And I think, Simon directed this one. And I think if we had to do it, I'd want it to do it live because I want people to talk about it. Because there is a huge split in the fan base of either you love the beginning and you hate the new, or you love the new and you kind of like you like both, or you just one or the other. And I think you need both. Because so many guests that we've had on have talked about, like, when we first started writing the show, we were in our 20s and 30s with no kids, just writing an adult cartoon, which is what our goal was to do. To be edgy and to, like, get on, basically they were trying to just get on Adult Swim. And when it didn't, like, they're like, you guys can tone it down. We don't need it to be this vulgar. We don't need it to be this. Like, just make it your own thing. They said as it progressed, it became more and more of a family show. And it's because the people who first started watching it started having kids. I think Brian Husky brought this up. He's like, they started having kids of their own. And so did the writers. You kind of grew up with us. And he's like, so then the show had to change because we wanted our kids to watch the show. And he's like, and the people who first watched the show in, like, grad school or in college or whatever, in their 20s and early 30s, were showing it to their kids, kind of like you were doing.
Yeah.
And I've shown Coco 1 or 2 episodes of Bob's. And, like, it just is one of those things. It's like, I want them to like what I like, and they do. So then it becomes this thing, like, we have to make it appropriate for them and make it something they can watch too. So it's more of a family show because the show's about a family. And they're like, that's just kind of how it evolved. And that's where it's at now. So now we have these episodes that are more family-based, more geared into that. And they're like, we just want to make it relatable to both. We can't go backwards and do just straight up season 1 stuff. Like, those jokes, many of them have said the jokes have not aged really well. And some of them, they're like, we couldn't do those anymore. And they're like, that's just not who we are anymore. So as much as everyone wants to jump back into that, like, South Park light that Bob's used to be sometimes, they're just like, we can't do that anymore. And we can have fun without doing that.
Yeah,
sort of
like, they don't have to go crazy.
Yeah, I agree. It's sort of like The Simpsons in a way. Like, The Simpsons, like, I know everyone calls it, like, the Grail years of, like, seasons 1 through 10. And a lot of people are like, Bob's, like, seasons 1 through 10 is also, like, the glory days. But if you look at, like, the Emmys are still coming in. They haven't won it, but they've been nominated. Same thing has been going on even in the beginning. They always were nominated. They won a couple. But the episodes are still good. They're still getting nominated. They're still seen as one of the best shows, animated-wise, on TV. So why try to fix something that don't need fixed?
People like the comfort of what they know.
And as much as we get into the state of, like, it's not what I wanted. And I know I do this too, where I'm like, if I could rewrite this episode or this ending or add something to it, I would. That's just for us as fans. Like, we're not the writers. I mean, I'd love to write episodes or, like, be in that room and be like, picture this. Like, what if we do this instead? Like, that would be a great, amazing job. And if it ever comes available, Bento, just let me know. But I think more than anything, that's just us. We have this idea up here of how the story should go, and sometimes it doesn't work that way. And it's okay. You can still enjoy it, even if it doesn't live up to that expectation.
Just be happy it's still on.
And don't forget, like, here's another segment we were going to do of episodes that you started watching or that you've watched in the past that you absolutely hated that you end up liking after a while. These are episodes that you just skip and you're like, I hate this. I always skip it. I don't like it. And then randomly it's just on one night and the remote's too far away and you're like, oh, just let it go. And you're like, I actually kind of liked it. Or there's a new thing in this episode that now appeals to me, or I think about it now on a different level. And as much as I hated like a sprouted gene, I may like it in a year or two. I may be like, oh, I get that now. My son's a little bit older. He's got his electronics thing. And I'm like, I get it. I feel like Bob now. So I think it just depends where you're at and what you're looking for right now. And it's going to change over time. It all works together. It does, old and new. You need the old and the new.
Yeah, and if it doesn't change, it's not going to last.
Which they've even said they had to change things up, which is like this episode is a prime example of just stuff that's old, but also changed. We had 2 new voice actors in this episode. We had Jari Jones making their debut as Marshmallow, which I freaking loved. We also had Eric Bauza back as Jimmy in a much more elaborate role.
And he sounded a lot different this time.
He did a little bit. I
think in a good way.
Yeah, I think they're allowing him to do it his own.
Like, it was, when I first saw him, it didn't register that it wasn't Jay Johnston.
Yep.
Like it did the first time I saw him. This time I'm like, oh yeah, that's Eric Bauza. He's doing really well. It almost sounds like the original Jimmy.
It's super close, but it's like it's still his own.
Yeah, I think it's different enough.
It's different enough, and I think they may be at this point now where they're like, we need to like do a little more separation. So, and that's a choice if they're making it or not. And this episode, I mean, also Mr. Fischoeder, which some of the best jokes again, Mr. Fischoeder's lines about the pilf with Gene, it was so good.
The pilfer.
Like, I'm here to pilfer.
I actually wrote that down.
It's such a good line. Gene actually had some really good one-liners in this episode that were like really well placed. And for some reason, I don't know what, and maybe you guys can elaborate and know like your thoughts and feelings about this too, but there are times where Gene will say these lines and it seems like they turned down his volume. Because like you almost have to like put on subtitles sometime to hear it or see it. And it's usually pretty good, but like this one I felt like they turned it up a little bit and left some space. So like you could actually hear it and you're like, oh, that's a good joke. That was actually really good. Because a lot of times, like even in the movie, Gene has that line in the song where Tina's like the sunny days of summer and she's like that thing that's in his pants and then Gene's like poop. And he just says it real quick. But like if you're not listening for it, you won't hear it. But it's such a good little Gene line.
I think I missed that the first time.
I didn't hear it in the theater. I didn't catch it till we did the one at the movie theater in Columbus. I really heard it. I was like, oh, he does say poop. He says it pretty pronounced. Let's see what people said. That one. Yeah, Christine. No, that was Eric Bauza. He does Bugs Bunny. He does a lot of the Looney Tunes characters. He does a lot of animated characters. He's really good. And he can turn into anybody. He also can draw Bugs Bunny. So when like you meet him, he draws Bugs and then draws his name. Like he can draw most of the Looney Tunes characters pretty well. So
he's done Mickey ones too, right?
This is like his dream come true is to be a voice actor for these cartoons because he's like, I grew up with these. So he really respects that. And when I would love to hear more about how he got picked. I'm sure it's because just of like what he can do. He's kind of like the David Herman of Bob's. Like David Herman does so many voices. And so does like H. John and stuff. Everyone does kind of a couple, but those two in particular do so many for Bob's that I think they needed to like tap in and be like, we need to get Bauza on so we can do a lot more voices if we want to do things differently. So, and this episode had a good amount of Mort. It had like the mailman back in it. I thought
Trav?
yeah. I thought that was Megan Mullally that was doing Mr. Fishoder's like quote unquote lady friend singing voice. It sounded similar to her. So I just read the things and it was her. The only person who didn't make a guest appearance that I'd love to have seen just go by the window is the roller skate guy. We haven't seen him in a while.
Long time.
But I just thought it'd be funny when Marshmallow walks in. He's like, "Hey, Marshmallow," and just like went by, and she's like, "Hey, bud." Just like that's like it. That's all I need. It's just a little roller skate guy moment. But I think he's an underrated background character, and he had a lot more time, I think, in the earlier seasons.
They should bring him back.
Yeah, and yeah, that pill find is really good. I also loved the dialogue just in that segment where the kids are mad that they didn't get their show and tell at school, and then they weren't going to get their because they were planning on winning the award for their song, so they didn't get it because Mr. Franz said no one had talent for their talent show. So then they do this idea to do an open mic night at Bob's, which he and Linda agreed to. I'm sure Linda definitely wanted to do it because it's so similar to
Dinner Theater.
Yeah. And it's going to scratch that itch. Plus, when Gene and her had that whole piano bar, it's similar vibe, which is a good episode, too. The TSA episode is great, which I would love, Bob's Guys, if you would do a full album and just release it on Spotify. Even if it's only like 15 minutes long and it's only like 4 or 5 songs, I want it.
Oh, yes.
Also the Larry Murphy's version of Somewhere Beyond the Sea. I'm hoping that shows up on the new vinyl set whenever that gets released.
Oh, it better.
But yeah, this episode has so many good moments when Fishoder and the kids are talking. Louise dresses him as the landlord. Is he gonna have a problem with this? And once they're like, well, we probably can't save you a spot, he's just like, I'm gonna have to play the landlord card again. It's like, pretty sure there's a spot open for me.
I did love that.
Yep. He's like, I don't want to use my power, but I will. And then
did you notice in this episode they reused a burger of the day?
Oh, they did. That's good trivia. Which one? Oh, the
Philadelphia story.
Yeah.
That was used in the Handyman can as well.
Okay. So maybe Bob is recycling some burgers every now and then. Maybe the ones he really likes.
Or they're just running out of ideas.
I don't know. I think there was another one.
Reusing by accident, maybe.
Maybe, but the first part of the episode had a different burger, and I think it changed.
Yeah, the first one was no kimchi for old men.
Yeah, that's the new one. I was like, I think they try to at least do one. It might be a Mario question kind of thing where back in the day, did they do this stuff? And he's like, I'm sure they reused burgers of the day, or they blurred it or shot it certain ways so you wouldn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't have to always think of new ones. Because I'm sure it does get difficult sometimes to think of new ones. We're almost at episode 300.
Yeah, because they get the burger of the day, the van, and the store next door.
That's a lot of puns.
A lot.
Coming up with. They may fix it. I doubt they're going to fix it, though. I think they'll just leave it. And Christine, I think they did release it on Spotify. Jari posted about it. Let me see if it did get in there.
I was reading today they put the 3 songs on Spotify, but then they were taken off pretty quickly.
Oh, wonder
but
why.
I didn't check Spotify myself.
I'll check it in a minute. It looks like, yeah, Bob's Burgers open mic night. Go to your music streaming platforms and serenade yourselves to sleep. Yeah, Seabird got added. And the other ones too. Okay, so they should be on there, but let me check and see. Maybe they had to pull them for something. Let me see if they're on there right now. No, it's on there. Jari Jones,
nice.
Seabird. It might be under Bob's Burgers open mic night on YouTube too. Okay, so it's out there. Maybe they pulled them for a second and then put them back up.
Yeah, maybe they accidentally put it under the wrong category.
Yeah, maybe.
Or the wrong album.
But yeah, this episode, I mean, Bob's has been really good. As much as everyone's like season 15, there's a couple people that kept saying it was duds. And I was like, I don't believe that at all. Season 15 has been good from the beginning till now, and I think they're just ramping up.
Yeah.
This episode was so good with like just the montage of auditioning, everyone practicing for this, like how important this open mic night was. And honestly, Marshmallow, from first seeing to the end, was probably like my favorite character in the episode.
Oh, she was amazing.
The lines, the sass, like Marshmallow was back. The only thing I didn't love was Bob's reaction a little bit, where like Marshmallow was just like, Bob, this is important, do this. And
Yeah.
usually Marshmallow was just like, he didn't say, oh, hey, Marshmallow. They all did, it was fine. And I think the only thing I was like, wasn't like enamored as he usually is with Marshmallow, where he's just like, she's free and she can do whatever she wants. She truly lives. And like, he didn't have that a little bit. He was a little bit reluctant to have this whole open mic night because of the money piece and not making enough with the food. But they made up for that in the end too, which we'll get to as well. Where Louise has a heart again, where people don't seem to love that, but she's a kid. As much as we want that sinister child, it's still there. It's just, for her family, she definitely wants to make it right.
Yeah, she's maturing, finally.
She is maturing. She can't always have a go bag ready to go. It's important to her. She cares about her parents. Especially, I think, with the movie, because they almost went broke. And I think, like, that she overheard it. She's the only one that overheard it. So I think she knows it's real. And that when Bob's like, everything costs a lot of money, and, like, we didn't sell any burgers, that, like, it wasn't going to be great. So she had to step in.
Yeah, I did love that little moment where she's like, oh, this isn't the big money maker that we thought it was going to be. Everybody chip in.
Mm-hmm. Pass the bongo around. Yeah. I liked that part at the end, too. And even, like, Fire Marshal, everybody was putting money in. So
yeah,
it was universal. Interesting that Hugo didn't make an appearance, but the Fire Marshal did. So we finally got to see who the Fire Marshal is.
The fire marshal that starts fires.
Mm-hmm. We'll shut down the Wiggle Room, shut down the bar that the gay nightclub in the Bleakening. So this is the Fire Marshal that's responsible for a lot of that stuff. Interesting enough, though, with that background story, that Fire Marshal, that Marshmallow brings up, too.
I want to know what he set on fire.
Uh-huh. And she's like...
Like, where was he dancing with fire? That doesn't happen very often, I feel like.
Uh-huh. And Marshmallow was there, too, and saved him from the burning building. So where were they? And also said, like, in a weird situation. So there's a story there. And I like that they left it open for you to interpret it the way you want to. Christine, I think I know what you're talking about. So they wanted to make them a little more real and more grounded. So I get that. And I think Marshmallow definitely was grounded in this episode. The speech alone about why it's important to have it, that Marshmallow wanted to sing for her parents who were coming from out of town, and that it was important to them and the kids and people in town that Bob does this because it's an art of expression. I think just plays back to like who Marshmallow is, that whole importance of like who they are in the community as it is. Kind of same thing with like the Bleakening as well. And that it was so important for them to have their party and their night and everything like that. And Marshmallow was a big proponent of that as well. So I like that Marshmallow got Bob to say yes and agreed to it, because I think it shows them on another level at this point. They're not like, as you said, it's not like a trope. It's not this thing. Like Marshmallow's just not this enigma who just shows up once in a while. I think when Marshmallow talks, Marshmallow has something to say, and it's important now.
I love that little moment where, as she was after she was convincing Bob, when she started to leave, and Tina goes, "Oh, come on, Marshmallow." Marshmallow was like, "Excuse me," and Tina's like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Mm-hmm. Check that. I enjoyed that so much. That was the sass that Marshmallow, I believe, would have. And like, as Bob has said, like, I think it's some of the things that like he appreciates about Marshmallow. Doesn't hold back, says what's on their mind, and is truly free. So in that sense, I did enjoy that literally shut down Tina. Just like, Excuse me? I'm sorry. Also, the other part with Tina, it's been a while since we've had, and for those of you from like season 1, think of like Crawl Space where like Bob sees red when Gloria does that ow, and he just goes like red. It's like that shining moment. Or the thing where like, what was the other thing? Gene, when he like fell over and like he's like hurt, making fun. They're making fun of Family Guy in that bit, but they brought something like that back with Tina. And I don't know if you caught it, Adam, but like that she like does the face and like it just zooms in on her and the background went blue. And they're like, okay, yeah, we don't need to do that song. When they stole her journal.
Oh,
her
yeah.
page, they're like, no. And like she just made a look and they're like, Tina, it's gonna be fine. She like literally just stared at them and like the screen just went blue real quick. And then they're like, maybe we do something different then. So it's almost like she had her like Bob moment.
She tried to put her foot down.
She's grown a backbone a little bit. And Tina also is growing up a little bit because we get this at the end of the episode too, where like Jimmy Jr. walks in and she's not expecting him to be there. And the song is definitely about his butt. And it is very good, Gene. And I also love the line where Gene's just like talking about a song about brushing his teeth. And Louise is like, well, maybe you should workshop it. I'll give you till lunch tomorrow to think about it. It's like, oh, good. Now I have some time to think about it. And it's like he has like maybe a couple hours to think of something.
I loved when they were brushing their teeth. Louise still had her Coochie Copy toothbrush.
Coochie Copy, yep, toothbrush. I almost wanted Gene to not be brushing, to go back to the Dr. Yap bit where he's like, his mask is just covered with plaque from Gene, where Gene's just like not brushing his teeth, just holding his toothbrush. And they're like, are you going to brush? And he's like, why? I'm just like, that's that. Also, did anyone catch the callback to Linda? Putting her lotion on, she pats it in. I'll have to talk to Brian about that one. Yep. That's the continuity thing that got brought up in this episode. That she always has to pat it in because that's how you get it to work, Bob. But yeah, she did it again in this episode. So good continuity to remember that. Bob's team. But there were so many good moments in this. Teddy and Mort doing their song together, which actually was kind of fun. And that Teddy was scared he was going to mess it up. And actually it was pretty good. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Cello. It was really just like a blip second. And it was like a callback to that season 1 bit where Bob just sees red and just like you hear that weird noise. Tina now has that moment where like when she really wants to put her foot down or she's very annoyed, it just does it. And we'll have to see if it continues. It might just be a one thing, but I'm hoping it stays because Tina having a backbone is kind of nice. Trying to think. Jimmy Pesto also in this episode was interesting.
Yeah.
He was human.
It was weird because like he threatened to call the fire marshal if it got too busy early on.
Mm-hmm.
And then like he was enjoying himself at the show and didn't.
Also, who's running Jimmy Pesto's? Trev was there the whole time and so was Jimmy. They had to have closed.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
He closed to go to Bob's. Bob's
that never happens.
Go in town, so he went to Bob's. Also, Andy and Ollie doing Moonlight Sonata a cappella. I would love to hear the Silverman's take on how to do that because it's interesting. But Jimmy cracks like a grin for that. Like he was actually kind of proud of them, it looked like, for that. He wanted to laugh, but at the same time, he was kind of like, well,
I was kind of iffy on his reaction because at first it did look like he was like kind of grinning like he was proud, but then it almost turned into like a what is this?
Well, I think it's kind of warranted.
Yeah.
It's so different. But I think it was kind of like a what is this? And also like, yeah, I'm kind of proud of my kids for doing this. I think he didn't know what to do with himself. He did. Yeah. You're right, Christine. I think he was caught off guard. I think he initially didn't even want to go. Then Trev's like, I'm going on at 7, so he goes. And then he turns it into like he stayed the whole time. And when the fire marshal showed up, he was like, that wasn't me. And he literally is just like, I didn't do this. Please don't be mad at me. That's growth on Jimmy's part.
Yeah. It would have been nice, though, if he would have acknowledged that Trev was singing to him and about him.
He was.
Because he's like, oh, someone really hurt him.
And I love that Bob was like, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he knew.
Who could that be? Jimmy.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, though, that Trev would sing about Jimmy. And I don't know. I like Trev. The voice was actually good for Trev singing. All the voices for singing were good. Especially Jari. Jari was great. I enjoyed the Seabird song quite a bit. So I'm glad version.
It makes sense for Jari, though, with having a musical background.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. But no.
I was very surprised. Like, I had never heard her sing before, but
no, but
it was a great
really. I was genuinely surprised because I was just like, maybe they won't do it, and then they did it, and showing the parents' reaction, it was definitely a moment. I think that's the bigger things. We're getting these moments now.
Mm-hmm. I actually talked to Dyer Bryan last night briefly on Messenger.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he made in his Instagram stories talking about the show, and like I had just finished watching it, so I messaged him. I'm like, that was an amazing episode. I loved it. And he's like, he responded with something like, I'm really glad to hear that because I feel like that's something we needed because of recent events. And I'm like, honestly, this was the first like deep felt happiness I've had all week. And it was a nice relief from all the stress of this past week.
It really was. This episode just made things seem a little bit lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And that was nice to have, honestly.
Yes, it was.
And I think Lorne, when he writes, does a lot of the subtle things. It's like a win for the family, but everyone gets their thing. And it's this episode in particular where he talks about like everyone gets wins. You see the wins all over the place. Even Jimmy got win. Trev got a win. The kids did. Bob did with the hat of money going around. Linda got to go up and sing with the kids, which I'm sure is like a dream of hers. Mr. Fischoeder got to sing and do his thing and be a performer. We got to see more. Even like Tim Meadows did a great job as Mike the Mailman singing Mr. Postman.
And yeah, that was nice to see him.
And being like playing both bits where he's singing and being like, I might have a letter. I may. Because he is the postman. But it was a good little bit. And I think everyone kind of had their win. And it really was nice to see it. Yeah, it was helpful. That was also, if you've watched the Over the Garden Wall panel that me and Mike did, we were going to do that night. And then it got moved to Wednesday. And me and Mike were like, it actually felt nice to actually just talk about it on Wednesday and just kind of like be with people who love animation and wanted to like just talk about a show that is so impactful to so many people. And we were just shocked how many of you liked it. So thanks for checking it out. I think last time we checked, it was like 2 days ago, it was at like 1,200 views. So thank you for that. We'll keep doing more panels like that when Bob's has breaks and stuff. So let us know. Send us messages about other shows and things you'd like us to do panels on. We'll try to get a panel together for those and do them, because especially if we're both interested in the show, we'll definitely do it. But no, this episode really outdid itself. And the song is actually really catchy at the end.
It was a good song.
It reminded me a little bit of My Bud Has a Fever.
It seemed like that's kind of what they were going for. Keep that same idea.
And it did feel that way quite a bit.
I need to watch Over the Garden Wall. I still haven't watched it.
It's super short. It's only like an hour and 25 minutes. They basically said they pitched it as a mini series that if you watched it in sequence, it'd be as long as a feature film.
That's not bad.
And the people who made it, like they know how much they put into it to make it work, and how it was like a love project, and it shows. It's just like they really cared so much about that show, and they're like, everyone's like, it was so much work, but so much work, like so worth it though. And everyone was kind of talking about the week and what had happened, but relating it to the themes of the show, and kind of being like, we all have like our own beast to worry about. So we should take care of each other and keep the lantern lit and basically just do the best we can. So leave it to the writer of Over the Garden Wall, one of the writers, to literally like had like the perfect ending to the whole panel. And we're like, well, we'll just end on that because there's no way we're gonna do better than that. But no, Amalia did a great job with that. But this episode of Bob's is so good. I'm so glad that we got it. And then I knew I had a question I wanted to ask Lauren over on, I hate that I have to ask it on X, Twitter. I'm just going to keep calling it Twitter just to piss him off.
Yeah,
but
it's always Twitter for me.
Twitter. But I don't know. Maybe Lauren one day will jump over to Instagram or a different platform. But I know they're over on Twitter because I think it's the one that they've had forever, and see about that question. I might have to rewatch it again just to remember it. But I think it was a continuity thing. But it was just nice to see Marshmallow get their debut. I know they had their line, their like one or two lines in the season 14 premiere, but this felt like the real coming to form and coming back of Marshmallow. So, and they did say in the episode, this isn't the first time they're going to be back. So it'll be nice to see them make more frequent stops throughout the show.
Maybe we'll get lucky and have more than we previously had.
I know we went through a drought quite a while.
Well, even before, when it was my mind just went blank. Mr. Frond voicing him or voicing her.
Oh, David Herman. Yeah.
David Herman. Yeah, when he was the voice, I feel like we didn't see her all that often. Like, kind of just enough to make us want more. I want to tip over the edge and just like, let's get Marshmallow in as like more of a mainstay character.
I think so, and I like that because I think when you have the regulars that are always kind of in it, it does, I don't know, it goes back to those earlier seasons. I know you want to introduce new characters, which usually the kids have a lot more newer friends and characters that come in.
Yeah.
But it is nice to have like the usuals, the Morts and Teddies that are always kind of there. Mort's not always there all the time. Teddy's usually there. But it'd be nice. It's nice to have Mort back every
Yeah,
night.
it is.
We haven't seen Gretchen a little bit. Even just like, I think even just having them do Roller Skate Guys where they go through the background, or we see them and they just say like a line, I think is enough for a lot of us to be like, they're still there.
Especially for a roller skate guy. I mean, that's for the most part all he's done is a quick glide by the window.
And usually has like one line where it's like drive through and just leaves. Or like my favorite one is like, that's the sound of a game dying.
I don't know why, but my favorite's when he swings by on Bob's birthday and he's like, I'm so glad Facebook reminded me it was your special day.
There's another one too that he's like, the world's already judged you, but you just do the best you can. It's like something very philosophical, and he just flies by, and then you really just don't even get time to dwell on it. They just move on. But it's actually like pretty profound. And there's also the one, of course, with like Bob actually, which is like, Shell, yeah, I didn't even know a mermaid could ride one of those.
I wonder what happened with that.
Yeah. Even just having that person go by on a unicycle once in a while would be interesting.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like the callbacks that we had like last season with like the balloon people at the wharf and the Bubble Master, and like we got to see those people finally.
And the pipe guy, the homeless guy,
So good.
he's been in it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe not quite a bit, but there's at least 2 episodes, I think, where you see him in the background, like pushing a cart or something.
Yep. So he's around. And a lot of you asked questions about little things like that as well, callbacks like Ginger and Lily and things like that. And I know we've talked about it quite a bit on here, but I think that will be a post that we'll do is like why we won't probably ever see Ginger, and that's okay, and that we probably will only get Lily sprinkled every now and then. It's not going to be a continuous thing, and it is what it is. Oh, good callback. I bet the roller skate guy got to 10th base. The mermaid.
Nice.
But yeah, good Crapopolis link. But no, like I think this episode really does show that like Bob's Burgers can pull the heartstrings and do what it needs to do and have meaningful moments, and does it in a way that, I mean, this episode might be an episode that gets put on a lot of people's favorites list real quick.
Oh yeah, I've seen in my group today.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that's already their favorite episode of the season.
Wow, that's quick. And for the people out there, we're gonna probably post the poll tomorrow for it too, of like, what do you think about the episode and stuff like that, and see where people are at with it. But it was so good for me that I really enjoyed, and I'm hoping we get more like it. And I know we've got some good ones coming up with like Brian's episode and other people's coming in, so it should be interesting to see where Bob's goes with season 15. And they already said season 300 or episode 300 is a tearjerker, because they said that they read it and showed the animatics, and everyone was talking about how good it was who worked on the show. So should be in for a treat for that when it comes out. Another great one is when
we're all glued to a toilet cutter.
Yeah, that's a good line. That is an idea I have, is to do a roller skate guy design. So I have to pick the right quote. So it might be one of those polls too, where I need people to send me their favorite quote, and we'll see which one wins out. But yeah.
I wish I still drank.
That is very true, Cello. The animation for it is, they're getting really close to the movie. As close as they can. I think they're getting very close. Especially if you watch the cheese episode, that whole Mr. Gravy Paws factory is so movie. The shadow work, the details. We are going to show those off, Christine. We are going to do it. Promise. Actually, I need to make sure I can load them. So let's go ahead and wrap this episode up, and then let's go ahead and jump into the shirts so you can see what they look like. Because one of them is a marshmallow one, so we'll see how that goes over with you guys.
That's so good.
Anything else about this episode? I'm sure the more I rewatch it and really sink into it, there's going to be more to it, but for right now, it was solid, and I very much enjoyed it. Definitely would give it probably a medium well to a medium. So I think more on the medium size probably. But let me see when the next episode's coming out for us, for Bob's. I also think it's on the 24th. It is. It's Boogie Days. It's the Bob Jaws one with Louise on the boogie board for the cover. So that is going to be coming out. Let's see, this episode, it'll be on the 24th. This is when Louise signs up for a father-daughter boogie board contest. Bob's past comes back to haunt him. Ooh. Have we seen Bob swim?
Yeah. I mean, he was in the Ring But Not Scary. He was at the pool.
Yeah, but it's shallow.
The one where they were in the canoes trying to catch home runs that went into the water. He did fall out of the water and had to swim.
And also when the rowboat won.
But I think he did have a life vest on in that. I can't remember, though.
All right, so I'm wondering if something happened as a kid. All right, this will be interesting to see. So yeah, Boogie Days will be out on the 24th. So we're gonna have another 2 weeks off before we get another Bob's episode. So we'll have to find something to talk about for 2 weeks. Maybe we'll see if someone wants to sit down and chit chat with us. So, aside from the 2-parter, yeah, we'll see. Not to rush you.
Oh yeah, he did swim in it. Wharf of what's the Wharf one? The 2-parter where he does swim when they get tied up.
Wharfening. The Wharfening and the Wharf Horse.
Yes. Martinez Julian was saying, Yahoo was saying that aside from the 2-parter, referring to Bob swimming.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah. I mean, that would definitely be horrifying to think about. That episode still freaks me out, like being tied to the wharf.
Yeah, and the synchronized swimming. I forgot about that one too.
Yeah, a little bit before the water ran out of the pool, but yeah. Before Louise somehow could poop, but can't poop in public anymore. But
that must have traumatized her.
Yeah, must have. All right, guys, you've been patient. Let's go ahead and show off the designs and see what you guys think. So these will be live after the show. After I post the show to YouTube and all that, I will make these live so you can get them. So check out around, let's say like 10. It should be up and ready to go. Let me make sure I can share this with everybody. And we'll see. Usually Mike does this, so we'll see. Screen sharing is not supported on your device.
Boof.
Boof. I don't like that at all. So let's do this then. Let's see if I can do one of these. Let's see.
Grand poopy.
Let's see if I can do it on this instead then. We'll just do it on the old computer. Give me just a second, guys, and I'll load it up on the PC, and we'll do it that way. That way it'll give me another screen to use.
Oh, he mad.
Coco? Yeah, he mad.
Or is he stimming?
He's stimming. He's having a good time. He's been really like talking a lot. So, well, not talking, but making a lot of noises that he's really into right now. So, he's excited. So, but yeah, he's fine. He's just watching Bluey.
Nice.
And
it was fun watching him over here when you guys came over for dinner.
Yeah. He's real into just Bluey in general right now, especially certain episodes.
I miss that age.
All right, let's see here. So I'm on 2 screens. Let's see what it'll let me do here. Select a window. Okay. All right, let's see. Give me just a second, guys. I'm going to go ahead and send myself the picture, and we should be ready to roll. Let's send it to myself.
I should have worn my Louise hoodie.
Oh, yeah. Do you have it?
I have it on the back of my chair.
Nice. How does it look? I know the quality is like top notch.
Oh, it's amazing. Let me pop it on really quick.
And let me see.
I still have the tag on it.
Nice. Oh, yeah, you still do have the tag on it.
I haven't worn it outside yet. No. I need to break it in.
All right, let me grab this real quick from my email, and then I should be able to share it. I use my iPad because its camera is so much better than my PC, and for some reason, it won't let me share on that, which is maybe why Mike keeps saying it doesn't do everything, but I do get annoyed that my camera is never that good. All right, download this real quick, and I will share it with you guys. They do look really good.
JZG Mama said she has hers on her chair too. This is where I store all my Bob stuff. I've got my One-Eyed Snakes vest here, a couple
my
t-shirts.
One-Eyed Snakes vest. Yeah, I keep all my One-Eyed Snakes vests over there. Let's see. Mike, how do you do this?
Ooh.
No, that's up close and personal. Let's see. Man, this is when I need him. Let's see. Go to downloads. All right, let's see if it'll do it.
Uploading image.
There it is. So if you guys can see it, those are our designs for Thanksgiving this year. Let me see if I can get the chat open and see what you guys are saying. Go to the bottom. All right. Yeah, so the top left one, we've got Keeping Our Word, Saving the Bird. It's the Belchers Peanuts again, but it's with them and Droopy Neck. Basically saving and pardoning the bird. And then that one was a lot of fun to draw, and had a couple corrections with Bob. Was told that his mouth needs to be higher up by his mustache. But the next one over on the right is the Turktacular Turkey Trot over at the Wonder Wharf. So yeah, we've got the turkey running, and then the wharf in the background. And then the one underneath, Saving the Bird, is the good old Kill the Turkey song. So we have pass the cranberry sauce, have mashed potatoes, turkey looks great. And I did the cross stitch pattern that I always like doing. I see a lot of people online have these. Lauren, my wife, has one. It looks a little different than this one. It looks more embroidered. This one I had fun doing all the different vegetables and stuff. So you'll have mashed potatoes. There's carrots because Bob does honey glazed carrots for Thanksgiving. You have the Brussels sprouts because he's done that in an episode for Thanksgiving. So I tried to use stuff that's used in different episodes for Thanksgiving because it seems more like Bob would do. So there's apples. We have pumpkin stuff for pumpkin pie. We have sweet potato pie for marshmallow and sweet potato pie. Turkey. We have cranberry sauce, gravy, and then green beans for green bean casserole in the bottom corner. And then the last one, which I really, really love doing, was this one with marshmallow, especially because marshmallow was coming back. And I didn't know that when I first designed this because I designed it about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So this one is the marshmallow. We show me a sweet potato pie, and I'm on top of it. It comes with a little slice of pie on the side, and then also marshmallows on top of the sweet potato pie, and holding a slice. All the shirts are double-sided. So on the back, you'll see the bottom corner there, the From North to Wharf with the turkey baster. The turkey baster also looks like it's embroidered and cross-stitch patterned. So it should be pretty fun. They all look really good, especially when they're in person. So if you dig them, cool. Show them off to your fam and friends. And then this post will go up tomorrow. But if you're watching the show, these will go live tonight, so you can get them earlier than everybody else. Yeah, hope you guys dig them. Let me go ahead and stop doing that. See if it'll let me not share this anymore, because that would be ideal.
I'd love to see your mud flat pictures, Mama.
Yeah, that'd be
cool. And I love that you have a One-Eyed Snakes vest.
All right, let
I
me
wouldn't
see.
mind seeing them back again. It's been a long time since we've had well, I guess the movie, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind having another episode with them in it.
Let's see. I love that it's telling me to press this, but I can't press it. How am I supposed to press F? There we go. All right, let me take this picture down. If it'll let me. It's actually been really weird about not letting me take it out of here, which I love. Let's try this instead. All right, we'll just do that. Because that's that. We'll do that. So, that's the show, everybody. Hope you guys had a good time. And I got to do the whole wrap-up thing that Mike usually does. But we do have a Patreon. It's in the top corner. If you want to help us out, especially me and Mike and people like Adam and stuff and Abby, do stuff like this, send out cool stuff when we can, and just keep the lights on and stuff like this working. We really appreciate when you guys are able to give and help out with that with Patreon. So to our subscribers, thank you. And for those of you that may want to, we appreciate you a lot. It does allow us to send out stickers and do fun things when we can. Let's see. I think that's really it. I'm going to figure out what we're doing for the next 2 weeks since there's no Bob's, there's no shows, but we'll see if maybe someone from Bob's wants to come on and talk. We did have a couple people who wanted to do interviews. But we had to make sure it works with their schedule. So we'll check back in. So just keep checking in and we'll see what happens. So yeah. So this has been another episode of From the Great North to Wonder Wharf, your unofficial one-stop destination for bento box information. As always, I'm JB.
I'm Adam, sitting in for Mike.
And Mike's a carny worker doing whatever he does. So we wish Mike the best. And happy Veterans Day to all our vets, including Mike. So good night, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, I didn't cue up the video. I'm great. I'm doing so tonight. All right, let me go ahead and do that. But yeah, just pretend.
Ooh, Thanksgiving trivia. That'd be fun.
Oh, that is something we're doing. I'll post that tomorrow. But yeah, that is something we're thinking. But yeah, good night, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Bye.